Hello all, welcome you to the next session on electronic devices. Starting from today, we'll be commencing module 2 which speaks about PN junctions. Now, what is the basic objective of introducing this particular module? So, in this module, as the name itself says, it is about PN junction. So, you will be clearly able to describe mathematically how you can represent a PN junction and its functionalities, and also you will be able to understand the properties of PN junction in details. So, what are the two main objectives of this module? The first objective is to understand the mathematical ways to express the functionality of PN junction, and the second objective of this module is to understand the properties of this PN junction. So, as you can see that this module it's completely about the PN junction. So, coming to the first topic in the PN junction, it speaks about how the current flows when a P material and an N material are brought closer to each other. So, before understanding or before going into the first topic, there are very few prerequisites. There are certain prerequisites that you need to understand. So, in today's class, we will first look into those prerequisites, try to understand and digest them, and then we can relate that with the first topic in second module. Yeah. So, the first topic in the second module is about quantitative description of current flow at PN junction. Now, under this topic, first you need to understand what is basically a P-type material, which we have already come across, what is an N-type, and then when these two kinds of materials are brought closer, what exactly you have to look into, what all aspects you have to look into. So, first we will be clear with that, and then we will try to go into details of current flow in the PN junction. Yeah. So, the first prerequisite you have to understand is about the movement of the charge carriers and four different kinds of currents that we come across when a PN junction is being formed. So, what are all the different four currents that we have is, one is related to the diffusion aspect, another is related to the drift aspect of both holes and electrons, which comprises of total 4 components. So, we will try to understand what does these 4 components indicates. Let me consider a P-type semiconductor and an N-type semiconductor. We know that if in case I consider a P-type semiconductor, what are all the majority charge carriers we have in a P-type? It is holes, and the minority carriers that we have in a P-type is of electrons. Similarly, if I consider for N-type, the majority carriers that we have is electrons and the minority carriers are holes. Now, all of you know this particular relationship, right? All of you know this is what it basically relates to when I consider a P-type material and an N-type semiconductor material. Now, when two such materials are brought close to each other, what is going to happen? Now, before going into this analogy, now let's try to look into that. There are two glass bottles. Let me assume that there are two glass bottles. This is one glass bottle, and let me consider another glass bottle, and let me assume that this has some air molecules which belongs to some particle 1. Let me represent this as a particle A, which relates to certain gas molecules. Similarly, this particular bottle contains molecules of a gas which I will represent it as particle B. Now, what am I considering? I am considering two glasses. Let me consider this contains gas molecules which is related to particle B, and this glass bottle which contains related to particle A. Now they are very well isolated. They are not any contact, there is no contact with them. So now let me just assume this particle B as the p-type material, and let me assume this particle A to be as n-type material. Now what am I trying to do? I am trying to get these two glasses together. Let me try to open the cap and then try to make a contact between these two. Now when I tend to make a contact between these two, what will happen? See, there is a higher concentration of gas molecules which relates to particle A. Similarly, there is an higher concentration of another gas particle molecules in this particular glass B. So as a result, the concentration gradient varies. So when I consider this particles, it is higher in concentration and it is nil over here. Whereas if in case I consider particle B, the concentration of molecules, gas molecules in this particular bottle is higher, whereas here it is lesser. So as a result, what is happening? These air molecules tends to move and gets diffused into the lower concentration. And similarly, the gas molecules which is present in bottle B tends to get diffused from a higher concentration to that of a lower concentration. As a result, what is happening? There will be a mixing up of both the gas molecules in both the bottles. Now let me try to apply the same analogy when I get the p-type and an n-type material close to each other. Now what is that I am trying to do? I am trying to consider a semiconductor bar, out of which halfway I will be doping with a pentavalent impurity which forms an n-type material, and I will be doping the other half with a trivalent impurity which forms a p-type material. So that is how basically a p and n-type junction is being formed. Right? So don't imagine that you have a p-type material and then you have an n-type material, you join them together and that's how p-n junction is formed. It is a totally wrong concept. What you will try to do, you will consider a whole semiconductor bar. In that semiconductor bar, will controlly dope a region with pentavalent and another region with trivalent, which will result in a p-type material and an n-type material. And that's how we will be getting a p-n junction. So there is a junction. What is this? This is a junction which has two different kinds of materials at the other ends. And this kind wherein there is an uniform doping in the p-type at one side and there is an uniform doping of n material at the other side, and there is a step junction which is present, and this kind of whatever the junction formation is referred as step junction. There is another junction which is called as gradient junction, which we are not interested. So here the example we are considering is which kind of junction we are being formed. It is the step junction that we are being formed. Now when these two are brought together, what will happen is, what does this indicate? It indicates the holes that is present in the p-type, and this indicates the electrons which is present in the n-type. Now, as you can see, what is major or what is the concentration which is having the higher concentration? It is the electrons which is present in higher concentration, and here the electrons present in the lower concentration, and vice versa goes with that of the p-type. Now what will happen? According to the concentration gradient, all the electrons which is heavily present in the n-type tends to get diffused into the p-type material so that they can make a balance. Similarly, the holes which is present in the p-type, which is higher in concentration, tends to get diffused into the n-type material in order to make a balance. See, the keyword that I am using here is diffused. What is that happening? It is the diffusion of charge carriers that takes place, which is with respect to electrons from N to P type, and diffusion of holes that is happening from P to N type. As a result, there is a current which is being generated, and this kind of current I represent it as diffusion current. How will I represent it as? I will name it as diffusion current. Now when this diffusion is happening, see, the electron which was present, the electron which is present here tends to get occupied the hole which is present. Now what happens when this recombination happens is, let me just represent it over here. Now, the electron tends to get occupied, or it tries to occupy whatever the electron was present, it tries to occupy the hole which is present. As a result, there will be an uncompensated donor ions which will be present at the N junction. Similarly, when the holes which is present here tries to recombine with the electrons which is present in the N type, when they get diffused into the N type material, and uncompensated acceptor ions are being formed at the junction, because this is the region where a different concentration gradient is being formed. Here the majority are holes, electrons, and whereas here the majority are holes, which is no longer the same. The concentration is different. As a result, that is where the recombination happens. Hence, there will be an uncompensated donor ions which is at the N junction, and an uncompensated acceptor ions at the P junction. And I can also refer this as positive space charge region. What is this region? I will refer it as a positive space charge region. And this particular region where you have an immobile acceptor ion, I can also refer it as a negative space charge region. Now, the diffusion, whatever it is happening, similar to air molecules, can that diffusion completely happen? Can all the electrons which is present in the N type, can all of these get accumulates the holes which is present in the P type? No, it cannot be possible. Why it is not possible is because of the immobile ions which is generated at the junction. What will happen is, see, under this condition, let me see what will happen. See, there is an electron here. This electron, now what it is trying to do? It is trying to get diffused into the P type material. But what is there in between? There is a negative the acceptor ions which is present, which tends to oppose this particular electron movement. As a result, the rate at which the diffusion was happening here will no longer be the same, it will be reduced. Similarly, if in case I consider the holes which is present here, now what it is trying to do, again it will make an attempt to get diffused into the N-type material, but due to the formation of this immobile positive charge space, this tends to repel the holes, which is also a positive particle, which we assume that. So as a result, the diffusion rate gets reduced. Therefore, similar to that of gas molecules, whatever the gas molecule mixing up that happens completely, that cannot be applied in case of the charged particles. Because of these immobile ions, there is a force of repulsion that also exists between the immobile donor ion and the hole which is present here. Similarly, immobile acceptor ion and a negative electron which is present. As a result, the rate of diffusion gets reduced. I am not saying that it gets nullified, but instead I am saying that it gets reduced. The rate at which it was happening here was at a high speed, whereas here it is getting reduced. Done. But still, there are certain electrons which gain enough energy to overcome this repulsion and gets attracted towards, or gets accumulate, or tries to occupy the holes which is present in the p-type, or gets diffused into the p-type material. So I am not saying it is completely nullified. The rate at which the diffusion happens gets reduced. Now, when that further diffusion is happening. Let me represent the final diagram as follows. Now, what is happening? There is holes that is present here, majority electrons present here. There is a negative space charge region which is created at the p-type junction and a positive space charge region which is created at the n-type region. Now, the whole region which we have here, we refer that particular region where it contains immobile ions as depletion region. Now, why will I refer this as depletion region? Because these are the immobile ions which doesn't have the free mobile electrons or mobile holes which is present. So, why this is called as depletion region is because this is the region where it is depleted of free charge carriers or mobile carriers. Mobile carriers are the ones which is free to move, which is easy to move, whereas that is not the case here. These are the immobile ions that I am speaking about. So, therefore, I refer this particular region as depletion region. Done. So, this is how an p-n junction is being created and how there exists a depletion region at the junction where they both are meeting. Now, let me represent the depletion region width to be as W. And let me consider distance x, and I will tell you why this distance x is required, and let me consider this point to be as 0. Okay. Now let me consider this point to be as 0 and let me consider the direction to be as x. Done. So this potential difference, whatever, see there is a positive charge that is present here, there is a negative charge that is present. As a result, we know what exactly happens when there is a positive charge and a negative charge. There is an electric field that exists. Now, how is this electric field direction? It is from positive to that of negative. Therefore, the direction is towards the left hand side. Getting my point? So, because of this electric field that is now being generated under the depletion region, what will happen is, whatever the electrons which was present here, okay. So, because of this electric field, under the influence of electric field, there is another current which gets generated which is opposing to that of nature of diffusion current, and that current we refer as drift current. Now, how does this drift current comes into picture? Now, let us try to look into that. See, when I consider the P region, the majority are holes. What about the minority carriers that we have? The minority carrier that is present here is the electrons. Now, let us see that. Till now we were not interested with respect to electrons. Now let us see that this electron, let me consider one electron which is a minority carrier here, and it tends to move freely. And then what will happen while moving like that? It tends to get trapped in the depletion region. Now when it comes within this depletion region, what will happen is it gets sucked by the n-type material. Similarly, what will happen here? The electron is a majority carrier and the hole is a minority carrier. Now this hole, what will happen is it will tend to move freely, and when it comes within this region, this gets sucked by the p-type material. Getting my point? And this is because this, whatever the sucking of electron here in this case to the n region, or sucking of hole towards which is sucked by the p-type material, is because of the influence of the electric field which is present in the depletion region. Now that flow which I refer is what we refer as drift movement. This is drifting of holes which is happening in this direction, and this is drifting of electrons which is happening in the opposite direction, and which total results in a current which is called as drift current, and that is totally opposite to that of the diffusion current. Now, when I consider the equilibrium condition, that is when it is not under the influence of any external electric field, when I am not providing any voltage source across this PN junction, whatever the drift current that I observe in this PN junction is exactly equal to the diffusion current, which in turn indicates that how many ever electrons that gets drifted towards the N region, the same number of electrons get diffused from this region to that of P region. I repeat, the electrons which were majority carriers here tends to get diffused to the p type, right? So, how many number of electrons which gets to diffuse to the p type, the same number of electrons which is present here tends to get drifted towards this n region. That's how it is getting compensated. Similarly, the majority carriers which are holes here, which is trying to diffuse into the n region, which is equivalent to that of the number of minority carriers, which is the holes which gets drifted towards the P region. Getting my point? Therefore, how many components we have? There are totally 4 components. One is the electron being drifted, the electron being diffused, the hole being drifted and the hole being diffused. So, therefore, totally 4 components we have to consider. Now, let me try to depict that in the table form so that you get a clear picture. So, what are all the things that we have to consider is, first let me consider particle movement. How does an N or a hole gets moved, how does an electron is being moved, and let me also consider the current direction. Let me assume 4 different factors, or let me consider 4 different factors. Which are the 4 different factors is the hole which is getting diffused, which I will represent it as hole diffusion, then the hole which gets drifted, which I will refer it as hole drift, then comes the electron which is getting diffused, and then the electron which is getting drifted. Now stay with me and try to understand this. It is very simple, but once for all if you look into the table it seems to be confusing, but if you know the concept it is very easy to understand. Yeah. Now first we shall look into the diffusion. Let's not go into the drift, we will try to look into the diffusion. Now when I consider hole diffusion, how is the holes getting diffused? From which place to which place it is getting diffused? From higher concentration to lower concentration. Where is the higher concentration? It is in the P region. Where is the lower concentration? It is in the N region. Therefore, the direction of diffusion is towards which end? Towards my right hand side, right? Therefore, how will I represent the arrow direction? Let me represent the arrow direction in this way. Done? Now, let me consider electron diffusion. How is the electron getting diffused? It is from the N region to that of the P region. Right. So, therefore, the direction of the arrow should be towards my left hand side. Let me just represent the electron related things in the dotted line, and then let me show the diffusion of electrons in the required direction, which is towards the left hand side. I hope all of you are clear with these two. It is just the diffusion of hole, how it is getting diffused, how the particle is getting diffused, and how the electron is getting diffused. Now, because of this diffusion of the hole and the electron, there exists a current which I told. And what do we refer that current as? It is referred as diffusion current. And we know always the conventional current direction is same as that of the hole direction. Now, how is the hole direction which is towards the right hand side of me? Therefore, how should be the current direction that I have to consider? Because of the diffusion that is happening, it has to be towards the right side. Similarly, we know the conventional current is what we are referring to. Therefore, even though the electrons are getting diffused towards my left hand side, how is the conventional current direction is being moved? It is towards the right hand side. I hope all of you are clear till here. Now, let's consider the drift factor that is happening. Now, why is this drift being happening is because of the minority carriers. Now let me try to look into the minority carrier. If I consider the p region, which is the minority carrier we have here, it is the electron. How this electron is getting drifted? From which direction to which direction? The electron is getting drifted from the p region to that of n region. It is getting sucked by the n-type material under the influence of electric field. Therefore, what should be the direction of electron getting drifted? It is from p to that of n. That is towards my right side. So, if I consider the electron drifting, how will I represent the direction? It is towards the right side. Done? Now, if in case I consider hole which is getting drifted, the drifting is basically refers to which? Always keep this in mind, it is regarding with respect to that of minority carriers. The holes are the minority carriers in case of n-type material. Now, these holes are getting sucked by this p-type material under the influence of electric field which is generated because of the potential difference that exists, right? So, therefore, the hole, that is the minority carriers, gets drifted from the n-type material to that of p-type material. Hence, the direction have to be towards the left hand side, and therefore, the hole drifting, if I want to represent, let me consider the solid line for the hole and dotted lines for the electrons, and the direction of drifting is towards the left hand side. I hope all of you are clear with these directions, right? Now, let me consider the current which is referring to the drift current. Now, if I consider the drift current, as I mentioned, I will always represent the conventional current direction. How is the conventional current direction? It is same as that of the whole particle movement. Now, how is the hole getting drifted? Towards my left side. Therefore, the conventional drift current also have to be towards my left hand side. Both of these is inclusively I am representing as drift current, and both of this inclusively I am referring as diffusion current. Now, as you can see, the diffusion current is just opposite to that of drift current. Therefore, under equilibrium condition, if I consider the drift current and the diffusion current, and if I tend to sum up, it has to be equal to 0. Under which condition? It is at equilibrium condition. If I want to be specific, I can represent it as under thermal equilibrium condition. The drift current have to be equal to the diffusion current. Sorry, the drift current sum up of these two have to be equal to 0. Done? If I tend to alter this, you can see here, it is only for your reference I am writing. See, what is the intensity of these currents? It is same. But what about the polarity? It is negative, which indicates that they are opposite in nature. So, either way you can write it, which indicates that they both are of same intensity, but the direction is different. And this is regarding the 4 components that I represented. Which are the 4 components? Hole diffusion, electron drift, and hole drift. And this is very, very important, and this particular table will tend to represent it under this particular first topic. Therefore, please remember this and try to understand. Now, moving ahead, now what is this region called as? Depletion region. I also intend to represent this to be as space charge region. What will I also call this as? it is called as space charge region. I already mentioned this is a positive space charge region and this is negative space charge region. Therefore, on the whole I represent it as space charge region. Now, what is this? It is the width, that is W, which indicates the width of the space charge region, and let me represent the direction as x and this point to be as 0. Now, I am considering the same diagram as that of the previous one. Now, why am I again considering is, now we need to understand about what is called as electrostatic potential. Whatever the potential that exists or that is present in the charge, how does it change when it tends to move from one region to that of another region? So, if you understand that and try to represent in the graphical form, then it will be easy for you when I consider under the actual topic. Okay. Now, see, when I consider this P region, let me assume that, or when I consider this P region, whatever the potential that exists in the P region is neutral or it is constant, and let that potential be represented as Vp. So, what does Vp indicate? It is the neutral potential in which region? In P region. Now, if in case I consider the N region, this is the N region that I have. If I want to look into the potential that exists in the N region, even that is neutral, and let me represent that neutral potential as Vn. What does Vn indicate here? It indicates the neutral potential in N region. Done. Now, there is another potential which I will represent it as V naught, and what does this V naught indicates as? It is the equilibrium potential difference that is found across the width W. So, what does V naught indicates? It is the equilibrium potential difference. So, there is another factor which I will try to represent. What is that other factor is V naught, and what does it V naught indicates? It is the equilibrium potential difference, and that exists across the length W. Now, let us try to see how to represent this Vp, Vn and V naught levels in an electrostatic potential diagram. Now, in order to understand that, let us assume that there is a one positive Coulomb charge that is present in the p-type. I am assuming one simple charge for the simplicity purpose. Let me assume one positive Coulomb charge in the p-type which tends to move to the n-type. Now, when it is in the neutral p region, what is happening is this 1 Coulomb charge, let me consider this as 1 plus C plus 1C. What does this indicate? Positive 1 Coulomb charge which is trying to propagate through this neutral region. Now, when this is trying to move in the neutral region, whatever the potential energy and the kinetic energy that is experienced by this is neutral in nature. Therefore, it is moving with a same pace over the P region. Now, as it comes across the depletion region, this is where the region is depleted with the charge carriers, where there is an electric field is being present. And how is that electric field direction? Let me represent it as like this. Now, when this 1 plus 1 charge Coulomb comes under the influence of electric field, what is getting happening? So, the way in which it was moving is now disturbed by the electric field which is present. As a result, it gets slowed down. The moment of this 1 Coulomb charge gets affected and it gets slowed down. As a result, if it gets slowed down, then what does it indicate? The kinetic energy is getting reduced, whereas the potential energy is increasing. Now, in this particular region, therefore, what is happening? This 1 Coulomb charge experiences the electric field. What is electric field? It is nothing but a force which is acting upon the charge. So, this electric field will make a force that acts upon this 1 charge Coulomb, which in turn makes the kinetic energy of this getting reduced and the potential energy increases. Now, once it crosses this and comes to the neutral N region, the potential again remains constant. So in these two regions the potential remains constant. In this region it remains at Vp, and in this region it remains at Vn, whereas when it comes under the influence of electric field, the kinetic energy gets reduced whereas the potential energy gets increased. Now if I keeping in this all these points in mind, now if I tend to represent the graph of electrostatic potential, then it goes as follows. So now in this particular region, let me consider the three regions, and then if I consider in this particular region in which potential this charge carrier is moving, it is Vp and which is constant. Therefore, let me represent Vp which is constant. Done. And as it comes under the influence of electric field, what is happening? The electron, this particular Coulomb charge experiences a current force because of the electric field. As a result, the potential energy gets increased whereas the kinetic energy gets reduced. And that potential energy is what we are interested in, because this is electrostatic potential which we are trying to represent. Therefore, I am showing an increase in the energy. Done. Now again, when I come across the neutral end region, the energy becomes constant. The same amount of kinetic and potential energy is seen when it is moving in this region, and therefore let me represent this energy as what is called as Vn. And this particular graph indicates about the electrostatic potential which is being experienced by an one charge Coulomb when it is trying to move from p type to that of n type. The two key points that you have to remember, here in these regions it is neutral, the potential is neutral, whereas in this region when it comes under the influence of electric field, the potential energy increases whereas the kinetic energy gets reduced. And these are all the factors that you need to know before going into the first topic. Along with this, we have another topic which is called as Fermi level. So in next session, we'll try to see what is Fermi level, how is that Fermi level being represented if in case I consider an n-type material, if in case I consider for a p-type material, and when these two comes closer to each other, when they form a junction, how this Fermi level gets affected. And that is what we'll be looking into the next session. Hope all of you understood with the topics that we discussed. Thank you one and all.